Hey guys, Gur here. Today I'm bringing you a guide on how to properly operate the AT and AA weapon systems that are currently in the game to the disposal of the infantry. I want to make this guide as brief as possible, but packed with as much information as possible as well. I'll show you the features of each weapon system, the differences between them, how to properly fire each of these weapon systems, and some tips as well on how to improve your ability with each of these weapon systems. Okay, so I'll give you an overview of each weapon system first. These two on the right should be familiar to you if you've played the Arma 3 Alpha. This is the RPG-42 Alamut, this is the PCML. They are both AT weapons with each missile on the ground. As of the latest patch, they are no longer able to lock onto enemy vehicles, so you have to manually aim and fire both of these AT missiles. These are the new AT and AA correspondingly weaponry available with the beta, that came with the beta. These are the Titans. This is the Titan Compact, which fires these two missiles. This first one is a AT missile, this one is an AP missile, which stands for Armor Penetrating Missile. This is the regular Titan, which fires this big ass missile, as you can see, which is the biggest of them all, which is an AA missile. Both of these Titans have a lock-on system to it, which is a type of fire and forget type of lock-on, which is basically every type of lock-on system. So once you have a lock-on target, you can fire the missile and forget about it, because it will follow the target and basically destroy it. But I'll show you that later on. Okay, so as you can see, all the missiles have different sizes to them, and this is not just aesthetics. These missiles have different weights on each of them, and this can be quite important now with the new fatigue system. If you carry too much weight, you'll get very encumbered. So if you don't know, I'll show you the difference between each weight of the of the weights between each missile. Okay, so from the heaviest to the lightest, the most heaviest of the missiles, as you should guess from the size, is the AA missile. So as you can see, once I drag the missile, you can see how much space it would occupy in my backpack. So you can see it almost takes off my backpack. Now the AT missile, as you might see the difference now, weighs a little bit less than the AA missile, but it still weighs a lot. As you can see, I can carry only about 3 missiles before my backpack is full. Now the AP missile is even lighter than the AT one. Now these are the Titan missiles. Now the PCML is lighter than the AP missile, as you can see. And last but not least, the RPG is a little bit lighter than the PCML missile. It's almost barely noticeable, but it is lighter. You could carry more RPG missiles than you would carry PCMLs. Okay, I'll start by showing you how to fire the PCML. I won't show you the RPG because both PCML and RPG fire the same way and have the same capabilities. The only difference is the weight of the missiles. Okay, so you have two main ways of firing this AT. You can fire from the hip without having to look at the scope. If you aim the crosshairs at the vehicle at this range, at close quarters range, you will be able to hit that vehicle. You won't have to make any adjustments. So this type of firing way is more appropriate if you find the vehicle right next to you and you have to fire in close proximities in a highly dangerous situation when you don't have the time to properly aim the weapon with the scope. So it is able to destroy the vehicle without having to look at the scope at this distance, as I'll show you. Okay, so as you saw, I didn't have to look at the scope. I just had to point the crosshairs and it will impact the target. Okay, so I've put some additional vehicles in the range. The first one is at 300 meters, the second one is at 400 meters. then we have one at 500 roughly, and then one at roughly between 650 and 700 meters. Okay, so for these you should use the scope of your AT. With the crosshairs you won't have a properly aiming situation. Okay, so the center dot at 300 meters will impact the vehicle. If you aim that center dot at this close range, it would impact the vehicle as well. So that center dot is aligned from 25 meters to a maximum of 300 meters. So if you want to hit a target until 300 meters, you just have to place the center dot at the vehicle, hold your breath with the right mouse button, and then fire. As you saw, it hit the vehicle, but you know, Arma for you, it didn't blow up, but yeah, as you saw, it hit the vehicle. So from 25 meters to 300, you just have to point the main center dot and it will impact. From 300 to 400 meters, if you point the dot at the center of the vehicle, it will not impact. It will hit roughly there. So you have to adjust manually. The rule of thumb is to place the smaller dots in the center of the vehicle, so like this. So you put those dots in the center of the vehicle and fire. Okay, as you saw, it impacted the vehicle and destroyed it. For distances above 400 meters, you cannot aim with those center bottom dots. You have to aim with the lowest of them all. So I have to press this like so, and then I'll fire the missile. And as you saw, at 400 meters you have to aim with the lowest of the markers, and at 700 meters it is no longer capable of destroying the vehicle with the marking dots. You have to use, you know, your ability and experience to destroy them, and you can no longer rely on those small dots. As I'll show you, have to aim a bit even higher than that to be able to hit that vehicle, so it should be somewhere around this. As you can see. Okay, so now you have a rough estimate on each distance, and now to properly manually aim the PCML and the RPG. Okay, so going now for the Titan Compact. As I told you before, this weapon has a lock-on system, and it also has a manually guided system where you can point at where you want your missiles to go and manual line and engage the vehicles. So this scope has a normal vision. It is capable of a small zoom, as you can see here, pressing your plus key. It also carries capability of using thermal vision. You have to press your N key, and as you can see, I can switch to thermal vision, which is very helpful when trying to find targets, especially if you don't know where they are. So yeah, as you can see, it has two types of thermal vision and then the normal vision. Okay, so you'll see lots of lights around the main visor. You don't want to pay attention to most of them. The only two which you want to pay attention are the ones which are flickering right now at your screen, which is the SICK light at the top right of your screen, and that lookalike of a no smoking signal at the left side of the screen, which is trying to indicate when the target is locked and when it's not. So the right one is telling you when it's trying to seek targets, which I'm not at the moment, but if I keep pressing the right mouse button key, I'll activate that seeking ability, which is doing as you see right now. And what the left light is telling you is that it's still not locking onto the vehicle. So I'm gonna do a seek and lock now, where you'll first see an orange light at the left sign, which is telling me the target is not locked on yet. And when you see that light disappear, that tells you the target is properly locked on. So I'm gonna do that now. It's not seeking any contacts, any vehicles. I'm gonna start syncing them. It's locking onto the target, and now it's locked on. And as you can see, that left light disappeared, but that top one is still active, which means it's still seeking that target, and it's telling me that it's locked on. So now if I click my fire button, it will lock onto the target. Even if I pan my camera to the right, it will hit the target, as you'll see. So yeah, this is what's called a fire and forget type of missile. Once it locks on, it will seek that target even if it's moving, and it will hit it 9 times out of 10. So now one small tip for you, I'm seeking that target. As you see, it's locked on, and as you can see from the right seek light, it's still seeking. You can pan your camera way above the target and it's still seeking, and now it's not locked on anymore, as you can see from the sign. So what that tells you is that you can do some tricky shots on vehicles that are, for example, behind bushes, behind trees. Imagine that if there was a tree in front of that vehicle, if I fired a missile, it would hit the tree instead of the vehicle. But if I pan my camera to the top, it would go on a descent course and it would hit the vehicle without hitting the tree. So this is a really nice trick if you find yourself in that kind of situation. Okay, so as I told you before, this AT weapon is also able to lock on without the lock-on system. It's capable of hitting the target without the lock-on system with the manual guided system. So if I fire that target without a lock-on system, it will follow my crosshair. So I'll start by firing to the top of this vehicle, and then I'll manually aim to it, and it will still hit it, as you'll see. Okay, so as you can see, this is really useful. One of those situations where that is really useful is when you want to engage a target that is not directly visible to you, because it's either behind a hill or behind hard cover. So I've set up a situation where that is happening. Okay, so as you'll see in a few seconds, I've hidden I've hidden an Ifrit behind that concrete wall, which I cannot directly see from my position, but I still want to hit it. So I'll show you. Okay, from this position, the Ifrit is behind that hard cover. Okay, so let's try it, shall we? So as I told you, I'm gonna aim above it, then I'm gonna descend manually so it hits that Ifrit behind that cement wall. Okay, so firing. Okay, so as you see, it went above the cement wall in a descent pattern, and I was able to destroy that Ifrit that in another situation I would never be able to. Okay, so as I've told you before, if I aim this AT in this hip stance at this close quarters Ifrit, it will not destroy him, as you might see now. It will impact before it. So in order to do this, you have to aim slightly above it, so it goes towards the target. This is only used in situations where you just saw that Ifrit. Imagine that Ifrit was rolling behind that wall. I had no time to properly manually aim to use my scope and use the lock-on system or even the manual guided system. So I had to take a quick shot at that Ifrit. Keep in mind, if you aim straight at it, it probably won't connect. So I'll have to aim a little bit above it, and then it will hit, as you just saw. But the Titan is really not useful in these kinds of situations. If you want to fire from the hip in a close quarters situation with AT, you'll want to use the PCML or the RPG, because the Titan is really shines on long range situations, and when you want to hit targets in special situations like that one, where you want to hit it behind hard cover or behind a hill, and you'll have to manually do that, and the PCML and the RPG are not able to do that. Okay, so this closes the AT part of this guide. I'll just take a quick look at the AA section now. Okay, so now for the AA part of this guide, I'll obviously use the Titan, which is the only AA weapon available at this time in the game. It is very similar to its AT counterpart. It uses the exact same lock-on system. The only difference is that it does not have the capability to use that manual guided system, so I cannot manually guide my AA rocket. So as you can see, there's a Kajman in the air. I'll use the lock-on system exactly as I would use in a AT system, so now I have a proper lock-on. Now the difference here is that on the AT, as I told you, almost 100% of the times the missile will impact and destroy the vehicle. Now for the AA, this is slightly different because the helicopters have flares, and if they are fired at the proper time, they will deflect the missile, or the missile will lose his lock-on, his sight to the target, and it will divert and go somewhere else and not the helicopter. So you have three ways of destroying helicopters at the moment with the AA systems we have. So the AI, and this is only against AI, guys. So against the AI, they will 100% of the times fire their flares once I fire my AA, and at this close range, sometimes the missile will hit the helicopter, but most of the times it will not, even at close quarters, even at this close distance. If that helicopter was even farther away than it is at the moment, then it will almost be impossible for the AA to hit the helicopter. It almost never hits when they fire the flares. So you can either rely on luck, so the flares don't work against the missile, or you have two other ways, which will be either have two people with AA missiles, with AA weapons, and I would fire my AA missile, and then that guy would fire his after the flares pop off. So that is a technique. The other one is, which is worse than that one, which is if you're alone, for example, you just have to either try and fire the missile really quickly so that the helicopter does not have time to reload the flares and fire them again once you fire the second time, or you just have to deplete the flares that helicopter has. So I'll try and use that technique, which will be to fire my AA missile and fire again really quickly and see if I can bring him down, or I can just try and rely with dumb luck and see if that if the missile hits on the first try and the flares don't work. Okay, so I'm gonna start the lock-on system. It is locked now, as you can see, and I'm gonna fire and reload really quickly. Okay, so I was really lucky and the flares didn't work, but most of the time it doesn't, and I'll show you in a second an instance where that does not happen. Okay, so what just happened was pure luck, as you'll see, most of the times the missiles will be deflected by the flares, as you just saw. So what I'm trying to do is reload really quickly and fire again and see if I can catch the helicopter in between the reloads of the flares. Okay, so firing again, and as you saw, I could not rely on that because the helicopter was able to deploy his flares again, but this time with luck again the missile hit. So the AA as it is, it's a lot is relying a lot on luck and on your ability to deploy more missiles than the helicopter has flares. So either by having more AA missiles, more AA guys or more people with AA with you, or firing more AA missiles than the helicopter has flares, or just rely on pure dumb luck. So your role on this is just to aim, lock on, and fire, and cross your fingers. Okay, guys, that concludes the guide. I hope that you found this helpful. If you have any comments or any questions, leave it on the comment section below. Rate the video. Check my other videos if you want to watch any other Arma 3 organized mission videos or tutorial videos or funny videos on Arma. Yeah, check my other videos. If you like this video or any other of those videos, subscribe, show the love. And yeah, guys, see you next time.